booktube. So I have yet again another book haul to talk about. I have quite the amount of books, and most of them I got picked up from the little free libraries around the town. I've done lots of walking with Fable here, and there's just so many little free libraries around that when I see one, I can't help but look in there, and I tend to find at least one book in each of them. But first, I'm going to talk about the books I actually purchased with my own money. And the first one is Larry McMurtry's Thalia, a Texas trilogy, and this includes Horsemen Pass By, Leaving Cheyenne, and The Last Picture Show. I believe I've read The Last Picture Show, but I'll have to look at the back and refresh my memory or go on Goodreads and see. But I really like this edition, and I got it used, but it looks like it's like brand new condition. So yeah, this will go along on the shelf with a couple of other books that I recently bought of his that because I typically read at least one or two westerns in the summer, and he is like so prolific that it tends to be a Larry McMurtry book, and so I'll have quite the option to pick from over the summer. I then have Phoenix Rising by Karen Hess, and she wrote one of my favorite children's books called Out of the Dust, I believe is the title, and this one is about a nuclear power plant, I believe. There's like accidents and survivors, and so yeah, we'll see what this one's about. This one isn't in verse. The Out of the Dust is a like a poetry kind of like verse, and told in verse, but this one is like a narrative. So yeah, see how this one goes. And then I have a couple more children's books. This is Small Spaces and Dead Voices by Catherine Arden. She wrote what is the name of that series? The one like the Bear and the Nightingale series, and so that's like an adult like historical fiction like folk tale retelling in a way. And this is her children's book. I read this one last October for Halloween because I mean it has like a spooky cover on it, and it's about a school bus who they get stopped. Like the bus like breaks down like it's cornfield, and then there's these scary scarecrows that come looking for the children, and so yeah, I'm excited to get to book 2. I then have A Year in the Maine Woods by Bern Heinrich, and I've read quite a few of his books. A lot of his books are about birds, like he wrote The Mind of a Raven and like White Feathers, I believe is the title. And there's a couple others that I've read by him, but this is like more like a memoir about his experience living in the Maine woods, and so yeah, it's like a very like wintry cover, and so looking forward to that one. And then I have another nonfiction. This is The Lincoln Mailbag. America Writes to the President, 1861 to 1865, and it's edited by Harold Holzer. And I've heard of Harold Holzer, and like I've been meaning to see if I can find any of his books, but I haven't seen any yet. But this is edited by him, and this is really interesting, I thought, because instead of like a biography, a typical biography that you read of Lincoln, this or his like writings himself, this is like everyone in America that is writing to him, like either complaining or applauding his or I'm sure giving him ideas of what's going on during the Civil War. So I'm greatly intrigued by this one. And I really like the end papers with like the letter writings, and I believe there's some pictures as well, or is it no? It's just straight letters. So you have like this is like what you have like the letter, and then you have some context at the bottom explaining where it came from or what they're referencing and so on. So yeah, this one is going to be an interesting mix to add to my collection of like Lincoln or Civil War era books. And then now I'm getting on to the ginormous book haul of the Little Free Libraries. And don't worry, I didn't just take all these books. I did have quite a few to switch out, because it's kind of like a take one, donate one, as like a trade. So that way you're not just taking them all and emptying them out. You can stock it as well. And so the first one is a mystery, The Man Who Invented Florida by Randy Wayne White. I think this is book 3 or 4 in the series, and I think I'm on this book. I read the first 2, I believe, so I think this is book 3. And again, this is like a new condition, and I don't know if it's ever been read. The spine isn't cracked or anything. So yeah, looking forward to this one. This is about me a good summer read as well, like a Florida book with oranges and murder. Like I'm all here for that. And then I have books 1 through 3 of the Heritage of Lancaster County series by Beverly Lewis. The Shunning, The Confessions, and The Reckoning. And these caught my eye because I tried participating in Amish in April, but I didn't manage to read any Amish books. So when I saw these, I was like, okay, it's past April, but I've heard of this author. She seems pretty popular. I don't think I've ever read anything by her. This is the book that caught my eye at first. I love this fall cover with like historical, and I thought it was historical fiction at first, but then I saw the author. I was like, okay, maybe not. This might be like current day, but yeah. So I got all three. I don't know if there's more in this series, but I have the first three, so that's a good start right there. Let's see. And I did have some like romance books. This is Debbie Maycomer's Starting Now. This is a Blossom Street novel, and I've read the first 2 or 3 in this series, and I think this is like a later book, like book 9 or 10 or something. And so I'll have this when I get to it. And this is about a yarn shop. It revolves around a yarn shop. At least first 2 that I've read are about like new knitters who go to the shop to get supplies and to learn how to knit. There's the what's the main character's name? Doesn't say it on here. But I can't remember her name. But anyway, she's like has her own like backstory of why she's starting the shop, and so she teaches like hosts classes for the different groups. And so the first book focused on like a group of like 3 women, and so the second book focused on 3 different women of like completely various backgrounds, like rich, poor, like going through like divorces or sicknesses and so on. And so yeah, I really like this series and looking forward to when I get to that one. And then I have 2 books by Cheryl Woods, and I think I only read 1 or 2 books by her, but these look interesting. This is Waking Up in Charleston, and I have Ask Anyone, Trinity Harbor novel. So this one I think would be like a good beach read. I've never been to Charleston. I've always wanted to go. It's like up there with like Savannah, Georgia. It's like a historical low country city. So yeah, I really like that one. And then this one, we'll see what it's about. Yeah, these like your romance books. They kind of go along with like Debbie Maycomer kind of theme. And then I have I have one book by Susan Wiggs, The Apple Orchard, and this one looks like it'd be good in the fall to read with the apples. I'm not going to read too much background on these because I know nothing about them. It would just I think really be boring if I just like read all the descriptions in the back. But this is a mystery, a cozy mystery. The Diva Runs Out of Time by Krista Davis. I think this book was brought up in one of the, I think it was a live stream that I was watching for March Mystery Madness. I think this is like a book that, like the title wasn't, like was funny to them. So I think one of the hosts or someone was talking about this title because this like rang a bell when I saw it. But yeah, I love like the punny titles of the cozy mystery genre. And then I have some children's books, and I don't know if this is children's book or not because it says like young and old people have loved this book. The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros, and I've heard about this book, but it's been a couple years since I've heard. I never read it in school, but this is like an acclaimed, beloved reader of for readers of all ages, like taught in like grade schools and beyond. But it says a young Latina girl growing up in Chicago, and she's inventing herself, and who will she become? It's like, coming of age story. And then I have, again, quite a few children's books. This is What Waits in the Water? Take a Dip If You Dare by Karen Scott. And the cover and like that little title right there just drew me in because I loved like the scary books. I read a couple like Fear Street and Goosebumps, and this kind of like gave me those vibes, or like Are You Afraid of the Dark, like all that I grew up reading and watching in the 90s. And so yeah, this would be like a really quick read over the summer. I think my eye and my mind has been drawn to all like the summery type of books, preparing for this warmer weather coming. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to this one. And then I have A Place to Belong by Joan Lowry Nixon. This is an orphan train adventure book. I think this is a series that's really small, but yeah, I think it's I don't know, like 6 or 7 books in the series here. But yeah, I just like the old-fashioned cover. I don't know, I just like that part about it. But it's like following the story of 6 children in 1856 when they're moving out west from New York City. So I love those like frontier kind of stories. So yeah, we'll see what this one's about. And then I have it looks like a very angsty kind of teenage book. This is 17th Summer by Maureen, and it's like the last name is torn off. It's like a really raggedy kind of copy. Maureen Daly. And I remember reading a bunch of these books when I was like, 15, 16 years old, 14, 15, 16, that, because I don't know, when I was that age, there wasn't this huge YA genre like we have now. And so I would like see these in like thrift stores and used books, and I would just pick them up. So yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, revisiting that time in my life. But yeah, we'll see what I think of that one. Then I have Madeline L'Engle, is that how you pronounce it? A Swiftly Tilting Planet, and this is a companion to A Wrinkle in Time. And I've read A Wrinkle in Time 2 or 3 years ago, but I don't think I even knew that there was a sequel. So yeah, again, we'll see what I think of this. I don't know. This is Zlata's Diary: A Child's Life in Sarajevo by Zlata Filipovic. And I don't know why, like seeing this, the character here, this picture here reminds me of the Wonder Years. The main character in that, I can't remember his name, but yeah, like something Savage, I think. Anyway, and this is a diary put together, and there's pictures and it seems to be like a children's book, but it's like their real life experience, and it was translated by. Well, I really like these, like they're not in paper because it's a paperback, but the little inserts here. Translated by Christina Pribicevic Zurich. And this one literally fell in my hands. I was opening up the free library, the little door, and it just like fell into my hands. I was like, yeah, it's meant to be. This will be interesting. And then I have Patricia McLaughlin's Journey, and she wrote Sarah Plain and Tall, which is a book I read, but I haven't read anything else by her. But this is Journey Journey is the name of a character. Okay, it's 11, and it's during the summer, and she's leaving her mother and her sister to go with her grandparents, and she's like angry, sad, and has secrets. So we'll see. Like the guy here is kind of scaring me a bit. So maybe I'm sure it's like related to something. Well, maybe it's his grandfather. I don't know, but maybe it's like the scary like lake house book that's like making me think of that. Then I have The Midwife's Apprentice by Karen Cushman, and this is one of the Newbery books that when I see anything related to like the Newbery Honors or one of the medals, then I have to pick it up. So when I get to this book, when I'm reading like not sequential order, when I'm reading them, as like each year as I go along, then sorry, Fable's distracting me a bit. I don't know what she's chewing, but she does tend to eat paper. I mean, not eat it, but like chew it up, so she ends up swallowing some of it. So I just want to make sure she's not doing that, or especially chewing up some of these books as I'm putting them right in front of her face. Anyway, so I have this one. And then I have a Babysitter's Club book. This is a mystery series, number 36, Christy and the Cat Burglar by Anne M. Martin. And I'm reading these in order, and I haven't got to any of the mystery books yet. And I don't know if my library because I've been reading them all through my library. I don't know if they have any of the mystery series, but I can just like slot this one in here when I get to this number in the series. And then I have this last few books here, and these are like I'm switching from the children's to the more adult books. This is The Home Place by Carrie Lasore, and this cover really caught my eye. And this is about a woman who's like she's done living in Montana. She says like the cruel poverty, bleak winters, and stifling ways lead her to moving to Yale, going to school in Yale, and she started her high-profile career in a law firm in Seattle. So like maybe like the location or setting will have it's like an own character of its own. I like this kind of book, so we'll see. Then I have a book I've already read in the past, Can You Keep a Secret by Sophie Kinsella. And I remember like, I don't know, like almost like I think like 10 years ago or so, something like that. I read quite a few of these books. I read the first like Shopaholic book, but I didn't read any more in that series because the first book was just okay. And I don't know, I just was not interested in picking up any of her other books. But the standalone books I remember really enjoying. And this one is about a woman who spills all of her secrets out when she drinks a little bit too much on an airplane. And she thinks she's talking to a complete stranger. But it turns out to be the CEO of her company. And so now he knows all of his like confessionals. But now she has to work for him. And so it goes from there. So yeah. And I haven't read this book, in so long. So this will be like kind of like a new to me book. Oh no, Fable. I thought she was chewing on something. She chewed on my Larry McMurtry book. It's okay. It went from new to used for sure. With my little corner here. I'm gonna put this over here out of her way. Okay. Then I have 2 books by James A. Michener. I have Texas, and I have Poland. There's some more books out of her way because she's like inching forward now since I moved that one. And the Texas book caught my eye, and I don't know if I've read hardly any books set in Poland or about Poland. So, and I think he was like he writes like historical fiction, and so like the history of when the saga of Texas begins in the 1500s through I think 1840s here mentioned, but yeah, and so like kind of history, yeah, historical fiction of the place, and so yeah, I haven't read any of him, so we'll see what I think. And then I have just 2 more books. I have a Civil War in Pictures. It's arranged by Fletcher Pratt, and it's literally what it says. It's like the paper kind of reminds me of like newspaper clippings, how it's broken out in the color of the pages. But there's tons of pictures and little descriptions there. And then I have Among the Mormons, edited by William Mulder and A. Russell Mortensen. And this says it's an eyewitness history of the Mormon movement from its beginnings as a curious, controversial sect to its present-day prosperity, told through contemporary accounts, letters, newspapers, documents, and memoirs. And I just finished reading a book about Mormons, focusing on like the women and like the women settlers and what they thought of being part of a plural marriage and having the sister wives and so like that was like on my mind. I saw this book and I was like, oh yeah, I want to read a bit more about their like history and kind of think I'm gonna get that narrow focus of women now, like taking a kind of not a step back, but including more about the men's with what their experience was and just the history altogether. So yeah, this one will be a good read. Kind of companion. Maybe I'll pick this one up probably sooner rather than later as a companion to the book I just read. I like kind of like having those kind of like not duologies. That's a fiction term, but like kind of companion books. Like leads me on a path. I pick up one book and let me go over here and read more about that. Anyway, let me know if you've read any of these books, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.